It was early morning. The sky still held on to the last gray of night, not yet willing to turn blue. Bare autumn trees swayed gently in the wind along Summit Ridge, their branches reaching out like shadows in motion. Inside a black SUV, NPR hummed. Softly, a voice barely louder than a whisper, peaceful to the point of sleepy. Lena Whitaker, 38, gripped a steel coffee mug in one hand and adjusted her coat belt with the other as she drove. Her mornings always started earlier than her coworkers. Part habit, part instinct. She'd long learned that fewer eyes meant fewer questions, especially the kind that didn't need words. "What are you doing in this neighborhood?" Her tires whispered over the pavement as she crossed an empty intersection. Then, flashing red and blue, a patrol car behind her. Lena's hand stayed calm on the wheel. Her eyes narrowed, not in fear, but calculation. No lights missed, no speed exceeded, no phone, no violation, just her and the cruiser. She pulled over without a word. The window came down. Cold air swept in. The officer, white, mid-40s, leaned in with mirrored sunglasses and the kind of stare that looked for wrong before asking questions. "Good morning. License and registration, please." She moved slowly, deliberately, handing over her documents with her right hand. He barely glanced at them. "So what brings you to this neighborhood? This early?" Lena tilted her head slightly, letting her voice stay smooth. "Driving to work." He didn't like that answer. "We've had some unusual traffic lately. Folks don't usually cut through Summit Ridge unless they're up to something. You live here?" "No," she said. "Nearby. I work for a federal agency." His eyes scanned her again, this time slower. There was a silence between his next breath and her spinning silver ring just once inside her palm, a habit she'd developed long ago to stay calm. 3 times she'd been pulled over this year. Every time, a different excuse, but always the same story. The same question. How much did they think they could get away with? "I'm heading to the federal building." "West 48th, she said. He gave her a look, a measuring, patronizing pause. "Mind if I take a look inside the vehicle?" Not a question. A test. Lena didn't move. She let the air grow heavy with silence. "Is there a legal reason for a search?" she asked evenly, without sharpness. No defiance, just clarity. She knew this script better than he ever would. His jaw tensed. She watched it, logged it. "Just routine," he said. "Lot of carjackings lately." "Carjackings," Lena repeated, almost with a smirk. It was always something vague. Something just flimsy enough to fall apart if pressed. She didn't answer. She didn't need to. Discreetly mounted near her dashboard, a federal-issued dashcam had been recording since the lights hit her rear view. Protocol. No sudden movements. No negotiation. Just documentation. Lena worked for the Bureau's Office of Internal Responsibility. Her job, investigate misconduct, especially law enforcement misconduct. She had watched 100 hours of body cam footage, filed hundreds of pages of policy violations. She had written disciplinary reports on men exactly like the one at her window. And today, ironically, she was on her way to a closed-door meeting about increasing accountability in suburban precincts. "If you'd like to issue a citation," she said gently, "I'd be happy to contest it formally." His weight shifted. His hand hovered near his radio. Her thumb hovered beneath the steering column over a flat button that sent a silent ping to Bureau systems. Timestamp. Location. Escalation alert. No flashing red. Just the kind of signal that left a trace. The officer didn't call backup. He didn't know if she was bluffing. She wasn't. He stepped back, checked her documents again, but never typed a thing. Tap. He knocked her trunk lightly. Territorial. A move that meant everything to those paying attention. And nothing on paper. In the Bureau, she was Agent Whitaker. Her signature carried weight. Her assessments triggered investigations, but out here, she was just black, just alone, just in the wrong zip code. Everything seems clean, he finally said, but held her license a little longer than necessary. Just being cautious, you know, with everything in the news. You stopped me without cause, Lena said flatly. That's not caution. That's profiling. He bristled. Ma'am, I'm just trying to keep the community safe. Safe. That word again. A word used to justify intrusion, to normalize suspicion, to disguise control. You've seen my ID, my registration. You've made a visual inspection. Unless you plan to file a report, I suggest you return my license. He hesitated. Power slipping through his fingers. What's in the case? He asked suddenly, nodding toward her briefcase. Documents. May I take a look? Silence. She didn't answer. Didn't blink. Her father had taught her how to survive these moments. Calm hands, measured words. Her brother hadn't been so lucky. A minor infraction had turned into an arrest. 2 years gone. A future dented. Deanley finally handed back her license. All right, he muttered. No apology. Lena pulled away slowly, deliberately. She watched. His cruiser shrink in her mirror until it disappeared. At the federal building, the gate guard nodded. Morning, Agent Whitaker. She parked, sat in silence. Then uploaded the footage. Unjustified stop. Suburban Precinct 6A subject did not cite legal cause. Showed resistance to procedural clarity. Dashcam footage active. She didn't need to explain it. She just needed it to exist. By noon, her footage had landed in the inbox of Internal Affairs. 2 other stops in the same area, same pattern. Number. Reports. No charges. Just patterns. But Lena was different. She had a badge. That changed everything. Deanley received a notice that afternoon. The Bureau was requesting a full report. He didn't panic yet. He submitted the usual words. Routine. Misread suspicious vehicle. He left out the neighborhood comment. Left out the search request. Just enough to avoid accountability. Or so he thought. But the footage spoke louder. At 4:10 p.m., the Internal Review Board played it back. Silence filled the room. Not because the footage was dramatic, but because it was so painfully routine. Her calm, his tap, her question, his assumption. That was enough. The board issued 3 decisions. Audit Deanley's past 12 months of stops. Notify the precinct of a pending ethics review. Use Lena's footage as training material. Bias in practice. Recognizing non-obvious patterns. The next morning, Deborah slid her a sealed folder. You did the right thing, she said. Quiet counts too. That week, Lena's footage became part of a federal training module, and officers across the state were required to complete demographic bias reviews. She didn't smile. She didn't feel vindicated, but she felt seen. Emails began to trickle in, some from fellow agents, others from dispatchers. A few just said, "Thank you." One stood out. A black sergeant wrote, "My niece drives through that neighborhood every morning to get to school. I used to tell her to keep her head down. Now I tell her to keep a dash cam." Lena taped that message inside her locker because it reminded her. This wasn't about her. It was about what gets written between the lines, between patrol logs and policy drafts. About what neighborhoods are protected and which are policed. About the power of silent evidence when truth feels too quiet to matter. That night, Lena stood in front of her mirror, jacket still on, tie undone. She didn't feel like a hero, just tired and watchful. She pressed play on the dashcam clip again. Mind if I take a look inside the vehicle? Her own voice followed, calm and clear. Is there a legal reason for a search? No rage. Just precision. Justice didn't roar in that moment. It whispered Dot, and this time, someone listened.